All right, and it looks like we're good to go.
Okay. Call to order the regular meeting of the Rio Dell City Council.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call, please.
I'm 1765. Yeah, I think we're good now, though.
Okay, well, whenever you want to do roll call, you're on.
Okay, we ready to go? All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Mayor Garn,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Woodall, Hughes,
Uh,
Councilmember Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Strand,
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
City Manager Knopp,
Here.
Finance Director Dillingham. Here. Chief of Police Connor,
Here.
Community Development Director Caldwell, Water Roadway Superintendent Jensen.
Here.
Water Superintendent Taylor,
Here.
and City Clerk is present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not intended. Items requiring council actions not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of an urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to 3 minutes. Thank you. Are there any public comments?
There are currently no hands raised.
And currently no email public comments.
Thank you. We will move on to the consent calendar. On the consent calendar, if items are pulled, I'm going to then put a halt to the consent calendar, jump to item J, which is the authorization to execute the MOU because the project engineer needs to step away as soon as possible. So now to the consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar that the council would, any council member would want to pull?
Yes.
Which one?
2 and 3.
Okay. And are there any staff members or public that want to pull any item from the consent calendar? Okay, hearing none, we are going to then pause the consent calendar and move on to item J, which is a special call item, authorize the city man on page 33, authorizing the city manager to execute an MOU between the city of Rio Dell and the county of Humboldt regarding the Monument Road storm damage repair. Page 33, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes, members of the council. I'm just going to do a little Zoom house cleaning, make sure that we have Tony on the line. Tony, are you on the Zoom call?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, perfect, Tony. Okay, so we'll go ahead and begin the item. As the council is aware, back in 2017, early 2017, we had a series of heavy rain events that was federally declared a disaster. The Monument Road, just to the west of town, experienced a slip out, and the slip out occurred 50-50 on the both the I'm sorry, hang on one second. The slip out occurred on both the county and the city areas of responsibility for Monument Road. So basically split down the middle, right on the city limits of the city of Rio Dell and the county of Humboldt. We did have a slip out there on Monument Road. So again, it was declared a federal disaster by President Trump, and which kicks in some FEMA aid for this particular issue. And we have been working with the county over the past couple of years in terms of getting this project geared up. That storm event, I think, caused over 300 similar events in county responsibility areas. So obviously the county's had a very large workload, and the FEMA process does take a little bit of time. But we are here today to really have the first official kind of agreement between the county and the city moving forward, because it is a slip out that occurred on both the city side and the county side. Ultimately, the local cost share would be split, and so that's part of the staff report and part of what Tony can help discuss. So attached to the agenda is an agreement between the county and the city specifying the 50-50 local cost share for the project, as well as some cost estimates that Tony can go further into detail, as well as some of the design of the road. And the design is definitely, it's a robust, full repair of the road that likely will avoid any future slip outs, as this section has in the past slipped out apparently on more than one occasion. So, so Tony, if you're still on the line, can you chime in and talk a little bit about the design and what the community can look forward to?
Yes. So back in 2017, since the county had 300 projects and the city of Rio Dell had 0 projects, FEMA decided that the county should take the project that traversed the city-county jurisdictional line there. So as FEMA works, they reimburse the agency for 75% of all eligible costs. Then Cal OES, since this was a federally declared disaster, Cal OES state will then reimburse the agencies for 75% of the remaining costs. And then, so basically what it boils down to is that the local agencies are responsible for 6.25% of all eligible costs of the project. So we hired GHD to design a soldier pile wall to support the road in that area. We've got the attached cost estimate for the 65% plans at a grand total of $2 million. So the county and city would be responsible for 6.25% of the construction costs. But along with those costs are also consultant fees, and that's on the spreadsheet that I put together. And I tried to list all the costs. Some of them are estimates. So plans and specifications to date, that's the current amount that county has spent, and also GHD. I estimated another 50% of that value to get it to 100% plans and specifications. That's an estimate. The engineer's estimate is $2 million. So then the 10% contingency, that would cover any change orders that happen during construction, and then a 15% construction management, that would be people out inspecting and also the management of payment to the contractor and those fees. So we get to a total project cost of $3 million, which is an estimate. So 75% reimbursement. So FEMA will pay $2.3 million of that. Cal OES will reimburse for $500,000. So total reimbursement out there $2.8 million, $2.9 million. So the remainder would be $192,000. That's the 6% remaining. So the MOU that County Council has put together would explains that the county and the city would be responsible for 50% of that 6.25%. So as an example, I have, so City of Rio Dell would be responsible for 96,000 and the county would also equally. So I did a little bit of a sensitivity analysis. I tried with a 20% under engineer's estimate for the project and a 20% over. So the under, if it's 20% under, then the county and city would be responsible for 74,000, and if it's 20% over, then we're looking at $120,000.
And just for clarification, Tony, this is on page 42 of your packet, that breakdown that Mr. Seghetti is talking about.
So at this point, once we get the city to approve the MOU, then I'll run it through the county, Humboldt County Board of Supervisors for their approval and execution of the MOU. Any questions?
Thank you very much for that explanation, that summary. Council, are there any questions? Councilmember Wilson?
No, I think he's pretty well summed it up in the cost. I think we're good.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor Garnes. Tony, a couple questions. First being, have you guys estimated the working day duration for the proposed contract?
You know, I don't have that information with me, but a guess on this size of project probably going to be 45 to a 60-day contract. That'd be working days.
That'd be awesome if it could be done in that time. I would estimate myself that it'd probably be close to twice that long, but we can always hope for a quick one. Also, question on page 43, the summary of probable construction costs. Item 24 is ground anchors, sub-horizontal, 32 each. Do you guys have an estimate of the length of those?
So we don't. So those, so the geotech or geotechnical engineer has some idea on the length of those ground anchors. Those are horizontal anchors that are drilled back into the bank. So the drilling contractor actually puts that together. They'll look at the boring, what materials there. They'll estimate a length, and then they'll drill them, they'll grout them, and then what we'll have them do is a proof test. So they'll put a jack on those anchor cables, and apply a load per the specifications. And if they hold the load, then we accept them, and if they don't, then they have to regrout them, redrill them, regrout them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilmember Strawn?
Yeah, so Mr. Spaghetti. Yeah. So on the geocheck report, so there's one whaler. You think that's going to be sufficient to stabilize that mountain there?
Yes, the whaler was designed by GHD. They actually have a structural engineering subcontract with I can't think of the name of their subcontractor at this time, but yeah, that's what they're experts in designing these walls, and the loads that they've calculated, the one whaler will be sufficient to resist the earth.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate your help, Tony.
You bet.
And I just wonder, are they going to close the road entirely? I assume that, but are they going to close it entirely? Are there going to be hours that people can get through? Do you have any idea of that just at this time?
Yeah, actually there'll be no full road closures. There'll be one lane closed. That's the beauty of the soldier pile wall. It allows traffic to move through while they're building the wall. They'll set up a temporary signal. I'm not sure if we got to that. By the time we get to the 95% for submittal, there'll be a temporary traffic signal set up. So the uphill traffic will be allowed to go and held when the downhill traffic is allowed to go.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Are there any public comments or questions?
Nothing received on this end.
Okay. And
And no
Rosa?
hand raised.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so very much for coming and going over this with us. So
You bet.
we will-
Thank you.
Then is this a voting situation?
Yes, so we're just
Yeah.
looking for the authorization for the city manager to execute an MOU between the city of Rio Dell and the county of Humboldt.
Is there a motion to authorize the city manager to execute?
So moved by Johnson.
You have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Strawn. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Strand,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Garnes.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you for being here, Tony. And now we will return to the consent calendar.
All right. Thank you.
Item 2 of the consent calendar. Councilmember Strawn.
Yeah, so I just, so the first bullet point, we're transferring funds between what accounts are we transferring there? The 14,000.
Bullet point that says police budget needs 14,200. It's
Yeah.
transferring between regular salaries and part-time salaries,
Okay,
or full-time permanent to part-time, because we had vacancies and the police chief was utilizing temporary employment.
great, okay. That was the only question I had on that.
And item 3.
Are we still on 2 or are we gonna?
Oh, did anyone else have an issue with item 2?
Yeah, I didn't ask to pull it because she pulled it, but
Okay.
my question goes down to the one on the sewer department with the
Mhm.
$56,000 for electricity. That was over our budget. Our budget, it was around 101,000, and I saw on the there was an estimation when we were doing our other budget that it was going to be about 130. What was the reason for the over?
The actual costs were 158,000.
What caused it to go up by the 56, whatever it went over the 56,000. What
So
caused that?
so for the previous year, the actual costs were about 138,000, but when the budget was done, the budget was only slightly over 100,000. So the increase between last year's actual and this year's actual is the difference between 138 and 158, which I think was 8% when I calculated it. So part of it is I can't answer to why it was budgeted the way it was, because I wasn't here when I did that, when that budget was prepared. And then when I did the budget for 2021, I do believe I estimated low because I just had a hard time comprehending that it would cost that much, but apparently it does.
Well, that's partly my question is I see in this year's budget, we're at 130 something. We're kind of back to what the other couple of years we're estimating. And what I'm guessing is that we need to do something. Yeah, we're budgeted at 136,000 this year. Was proposed. We're still probably going to be, and there could be another PG&E increase. We're going to be short a substantial amount probably at the end of the fiscal 2021. So I don't know if we need to put that in somewhere to amend our budget, or do we just wait till the year end and
I can specifically talk about that when I do mid-year.
okay, that would be good. So that's really my only question.
And I am planning for the next council meeting to bring the year-end report for the overall budget for last year, and so that'll be another opportunity to talk about how things look.
Okay, because I'm not because we should just knowing PG&E with what they're doing, they're going to have an increase, and it's generally in the 5% range on top of whatever.
I received a notice in the mail today that said that they were selling one of their main offices and reducing their rates.
Okay. I believe that. I'll accept it. I mean, I believe they'll sell their office. I don't believe I'm good with that. So we'll wait till the next, when you do your midterm.
Thank you. Thanks, Frank. Does anyone else have any questions regarding item 2, which is the year-end budget? Are there any public comments or hands raised?
There are currently no hands raised.
Thank you.
No public comment.
Thank you. So we will then move on to item 3.
We need a motion.
Well, I was going to do them both at the same time, but is there a motion to approve resolution number 1466-2020 for the year-end budget amendments?
Mayor Garnes, I don't believe that we've approved items 1 and 4.
Oh, we haven't. You're right. We went away from the consent calendar. Absolutely. So I will then go to item 3, and I'll do them all 4 together. Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Councilor Strawn, would you care to speak to item 3?
Yeah, so this is came up because of the graffiti on the buildings at the ballpark at the school. And I see that it's been painted, and so Kyle, so the city painted it?
Correct.
Although your ending statement here is that it's not the city's responsibility, or?
Correct. So at the last meeting, there was a statement that it was the city's responsibility to clean up the graffiti. So we want to go back through the agreement that exists between the school district and the school regarding the actual responsibility for the facilities over there. And there has been, unfortunately, a draft document that has continued to circulate over the years and has caused a great deal of confusion, unsigned, but the actual signed agreement is on the is attached, and it's definitely not a very clear agreement or anything like that. But in it, it kind of delineates the ownership of different facilities, of which the city does not appear to really own anything over on the parcel, including that parcel. And thus the responsibility ultimately falls to the school district. Now, staff was repairing graffiti or abating graffiti on another city structure that had a similar paint scheme, and so we went ahead and abated the graffiti on that property.
So has our city attorney looked at this agreement here?
He has, yeah.
When I look at this agreement, it looks like to me the city got a grant to build those facilities down there. And yet then the city doesn't want to take care of any of these structures. And they're wanting the school to take care of them. I don't know if we...
I would say this is a separate issue, perhaps, that we need to agendize.
Well, that's
I mean,
why
if we're speaking directly to graffiti, then yes, but I think if we're starting to talk structures and who belongs to what, I don't know. You can maybe speak to that, Kyle, whether or not we're veering off, or because I had the same questions. I called and talked to the city manager earlier today, but it wasn't subject matter exactly. So I'm not sure how that falls, Kyle.
Yeah, I think it's a convoluted and long process, not made easy by the language in the agreement. That's not always very clear, in particular in the draft that has been circulating around. So if the council wants to delve further into this agreement, we can certainly agendize it at a future meeting.
That's why I asked to have it agendized, because I want to have it looked at. I think it's time we do iron this out with the school. The only people who are losing here are our children. And I think the city needs to step up and take responsibility for the facilities we placed there. And so I would definitely like to have this agendized and looked at.
Okay. I will come back to that right after I have a motion to do the consent calendar. And then as soon as I have the motion for the consent calendar and we resolve that, then I will ask about the having that placed on the agenda. So are there any other questions regarding the graffiti maintenance at the school property? From council? I'm gonna say no. Then are
you asking for a motion for all 4 items, or just?
No, right now I'm asking you if you have any question or statement regarding the graffiti on the school property.
My only statement would be that I'm glad that we took care of it, that we didn't turn it into something bigger than it needed to be to get the graffiti covered up. And
absolutely,
that seems to help graffiti. Is if you get it, the sooner you get it gone, the less likely the culprits are to put it up, because it's a status symbol. I call it tag, and they live for this. Man, my tag's on the building down there. So
right.
The sooner we get that done, the better it is to alleviate reoccurrence of it.
Absolutely. Councilmember Johnson, did you have a comment?
My only comment is I would move for approval of the consent calendar.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Strand,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Gordon.
Yes, motion carries to accept the consent calendar 4-0. And is there a consensus that the Davis Street property the school property issue, the joint agreement needs to be agendized?
I concur to that.
Okay, Councilmember Strawn, no.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, and so I agree too. So we have a consensus, city manager, to agendize that item. And now we will move on to the staff reports, page 31. City manager.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Garnes, members of the council. So we do just want to recognize that Mayor Garnes was sworn in back on October 16th as the president of the for the League of California Cities Redwood Empire Division. So that's an honor. I'm not aware of any other council member being honored with. So certainly a big congratulations to the mayor on that appointment.
Thank you.
Obviously with COVID, it'll be a different kind of a presidency, at least in the next couple of months. But we're certainly looking forward to that. And in terms of, we have a contractor coming in for landscape maintenance on the median islands. Hopefully will be completed before the end of this month. We've been working with the city engineer on future grant opportunities for the city and how we can file for different grants, including some energy reliability grants for City Hall and other facilities. We have been working on the local road safety planning process to get the city geared up to be able to make safety applications for street grants in the future. And we've also just been working on in the police department adding facilities for our new CSO position, which we have extended an offer for the CSO position currently in background, and discussions also with the county in terms of vehicle upfitting for new police vehicles. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to the council. One more thing though, which is that the council should have been emailed the police department update for this meeting. So in your email box, if you haven't already read it, would be the update that wasn't able to make it into this particular highlight. But with that, I'll go ahead and turn it back to the council for any additional comments or questions.
Thank you, city manager. Councilmember Strawn.
Yeah, so the landscaping maintenance, so we do have a contract already with somebody, or you're still looking at bids, or?
Yeah, no, we have a contract moving forward.
Great. And I had some questions. Maybe is Kevin on the line?
No, I don't believe so.
I didn't hear him respond when his name was called.
Okay. I had some questions on the new manufactured homes for the permitting. Are those replacement or are those additional?
One is the replacement and the other one is new.
And for the new one, I know that we passed, something came before us about putting in manufactured homes and things. Did we talk about hookups and, sewer hookups and water hookups? Are they hooking into what's already there? Do you remember that discussion?
One of them, the one on Ogle Avenue, they have water and sewer hookups on site. The other one is going at the end of Bluff Place, and they will require to hook up to water and sewer, but utilities are in the street, so it's not a problem. I will mention that these are both very nice homes. They're Palm Harbor, and they're high quality.
Okay. Yeah, great. I just couldn't remember what we decided on the hookups for that. Thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor Garnes. I want to congratulate you on your presidency for the league, and
Thank you.
huge deal for the city of Rio Dell. It's unprecedented that any council member would step up to that responsibility, and thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Wilson?
Yes, I got a couple questions. First, I'd like to echo Mr. Johnson's congratulations, and for all the same reasons that it
Thanks.
is. It's good that we have someone in a good position to be able to have contact with particularly local officials and state and government during this time. So thank you for taking that effort.
Sure.
The couple of questions I had was one on the medium repair. Is this like they're going to fix this one right now? Or are we going to still do looking to do like a contract thing or something for like an ongoing maintenance?
Yeah, so this is just a one-off to get the medians back into a manageable shape. I'm working with a local group who I think can take on the ongoing maintenance so that we aren't having to bring in an outside crew to do that maintenance. There's quite a bit of work that needs to be done right now, though. And so I think in the long run, if we engage the local group to do kind of an ongoing long-term agreement to do the maintenance at a relatively low and affordable cost, there will be a good benefit towards keeping the landscaping in good shape moving forward without it getting to the condition that it's in right now.
Great. That sounds like a good plan. My other question was on the staff car. Are we short purchasing a police vehicle, or was that that was in the budget, or we haven't got it done? Or
yeah, the council budgeted money for 2 new police vehicles. The process has been delayed, probably in part due to COVID and just supply issues. Ordering the vehicles, we're getting very close to bringing an item back to the council for approval on that. But once the order is placed, it's probably we're looking at, potentially 6 months before anything is delivered. So there's kind of an extended period where we just can't access new vehicles at this point in time. So that being said, we're adding officers and we're adding hours. And we did in the 2 SUVs that we do have are approaching an age where they're going to start experiencing more mechanical failures. So it seemed like a reasonable thing to do to go ahead and for the time being reassign the admin car over to the police department. We will have to figure out in the long term whether that vehicle returns back to the admin fleet or if that remains with the police department. Because effectively this year we've added 2 positions, plus we also have a part-time officer. So there's just more of a demand for the vehicles. And I don't know if Jeff's on the line, so if the chief has any additional comments, really leave it to him.
So one of the things that pushed us is we had one of the SUVs in the shop for about a week and a half. And we can run okay with 4 vehicles, but 3 makes it extremely difficult. The admin car is used primarily by myself, and majority of the miles I put on it are to and from my house. And the the Ultimate gets about 3 times the gas mileage that a patrol car does. So it's much more economically efficient for me to use that vehicle than one of the patrol cars. That was another driving force. Other than that, I don't know. Seemed like a good idea to me, and I'm pretty happy with the way that car's turned out.
I think it's a good idea I know at one time we talked about getting rid of it, but and then I anticipate going forward that there's going to be a lot more Zoom meetings, even when COVID, whenever it does end. That I think a lot of things that we had to travel to, or not me so much, but I know the intent of it was that was to save people traveling to remote places to do city business. So that may decrease, and it may be a good solution for the chief for a chief's car. But I know that buying a lot of different stuff, and then I heard the news tonight. They're anticipating this winter there's going to be another one of these. They call it a twin demic or something. That things are hard to come by. I know you can't buy a Chromebook till next February. You can't. But if one thing we need to think about going forward, if we want to keep our rotation going for adding police vehicles, maybe as soon as we get these under control and ordered, that we address that in our budget system and look to order something else. With the lag time, we would be into the next budget cycle or almost through it, that we get some more police vehicles on order, so that we'll get them in a kind of get them on as we need them, as looking forward. So that's just a suggestion. Other than that, that's all I have for the city staff.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? Any hands raised?
Currently, there are no hands raised.
And no email comments.
Thank you. Then we will close out the staff reports, and we will move on to the public hearing for the unmet transit needs, page 67. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes, members of the council. So every year we have the unmet transit needs hearing. The recommendation for the council is to open the public hearing to receive input on any unmet transit needs in the community, and then close the meeting. And then we would be issuing a letter to the Humboldt County Association of Governments relaying those comments made during the public hearings related to these unmet transit needs. So my understanding is we do have a couple of commenters here this evening who want to raise some issues or concerns regarding unmet transit needs. And I'll just see if also the city clerk has anything else to add to this particular item.
No, this is just our annual required hearing, and same as previous years.
Normally there's a few people who have comments or want to address some unmet needs. So if those are present or present online or present on the phone, I would say that we should go to them, please.
And so Rosa, again, can you put the banner on the screen? So in order to raise your hand to comment on the Zoom call, you would dial *9 if you're calling in on your phone, and then you'll also have to unmute yourself, and you do that by pressing *6. So we'll give folks just a few seconds here to go ahead and dial those commands. Again, *9 to raise your hand, and *6 to unmute yourself, and commence the public hearing.
Is there a council member who want to say anything while we're waiting?
Yes.
Go ahead. Councilmember Strawn.
So, am I right? We have 4 stops in Rio Dell, is that correct? There's the 2 on Wildwood, the one by Shell, and then the one on the corner of Painter and Wildwood. And then there's one down on the corner of Rigby and Davis. And then I see there is it looks like a bus stop right in front of Danco. Is that also a bus stop or is that just a bench?
Yeah, the one at the Danco site is a bus stop. It was added as part of their requirements for the project.
So there's 4, is that correct then in Rio Dell?
There's also the bus that runs down to Garberville, and so there's an additional, I think, 2 stops that are kind of on the on-ramps, north and south, where people can board those separate buses to the Garberville area.
Is that's not though through the transit system, is it?
No, it is. It's just a line that really goes. It's kind of, I believe it's like an express line that goes down to Garberville and stops just in a couple places on the highway.
Okay.
And I think there might be, my count is actually 6, 2 going north on Wildwood, 1 at in front of City Hall and 1 down by, I think, Painter, then on Wildwood going south, then the 1 across from the senior complex. And if there's a new one at the Danco property, the River Bluff Cottages, and then down at Davis and Rigby.
Yeah.
So that would be 6 actually.
Okay. So my question on the Danco one, are the tenants there, or have they been given, at the meetings that we have at HCOG, they talk about the transit, and the students have been supplied with like a low cost or sometimes even free tickets to ride the bus. Are our tenants at Danco, have they been given that opportunity? Is that something that we could look into for them, or do you know?
Yeah, I'm not aware. I don't know if any other member of the staff is aware if Danco tenants are provided those type of vouchers or anything like that.
I wonder if we could ask for that, or just some form of assistance through DHHS, or because they might need some assistance with that. And if there's any programs out there, I certainly think they should qualify for that. And I'd like that looked into if we could. And also, I'm not sure, but I do know on the corner of Rigby and Davis, there's always people with bicycles that are getting on. So I want to be sure that there are bike racks on those buses. So they're available for them to, I know that's also been a discussion at HCOG, are bike racks on the buses so that the bikes aren't inside the bus, but are actually able to be put on the outside. So more people will be able to sit. So those 2 issues I would like brought up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are good issues. Anyone else? Councilmember Wilson?
I can't think of any. The only other question would be, as we talked about it, have we fulfilled all our requirements on the handicap access to the bus from the library?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that we have covered everything there. However, we have covered everything that we can get grant funded. So if the council recalls, it's the path of travel from the nearest bus stop to the library. You know, we redid the sidewalks basically between City Hall and the library. So those now meet ADA. One section that was highlighted but was not required in the documents for the city to remedy at this time was really the sidewalk in front of Memorial Park and the trees there on Wildwood Avenue right across from City Hall. So that sidewalk area remains not strictly ADA compliant. However, what I would add to that is the order that came through for the ADA compliance was mostly focused on the library itself. And so what the city's done in this case is, you know, taking care of the ADA issues where we can, utilizing grant funding to address it. Unfortunately, the area right across from City Hall was not in the scope of our ATP project, so we weren't able to wrap that up into there. But certainly as we move forward, we'll be looking for other opportunities to upgrade that section as well.
So it doesn't sound like this is something that falls under those transit needs.
I think ADA is always, there's a lot of work all throughout town and all throughout many of the communities in Humboldt County that are ADA related. You know, so it doesn't, I don't think it hurts to, you know, add that as a comment to the unmet transit needs.
Okay, well, that's just a suggestion is for that, to make it so they can get, because as I see some of the stuff around our town, the streets, as they get rougher in some areas, it makes it tougher for the handicap. It was a big improvement over on ELO and Scenic. I mean, that was, I think, a really great improvement. But if we can get some more addressed, it'd be great.
Yeah, and the ATP project is not over with yet. So we are going to have RAO Construction come back and do some additional sidewalk repairs on Davis Street to help repair some of the damaged sections there.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson, did you have any?
Nothing to add, Mayor Garnes.
Thank you. Now, I think we've had a sufficient time. Are there any hands raised or emails?
No emails.
Thank you.
And no hand.
Okay.
And let's give this one other try. So it's *9 to raise your hand in the comment section, and then Karen, do you have the name, the first name of the individual who was going to attend?
No, the email that I received was from Jason Chan. He was going to address any questions that anyone had. He's still in the, yeah.
Okay.
I am on that.
Okay, thank you.
So let me know when you want to move forward, City Manager.
So, and I'm looking right now and I don't see any hands raised. So I think there is no public comment.
Okay. Thank you. Then we will close the unmet transit needs public hearing. Now we will move on to council reports. Councilmember Johnson.
Nothing to report, Mayor Garnes.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Strawn.
Yeah, so just a little reversing back to the unmet transit needs, that
Oh, sure.
the city brings in $118,000 is what the budget was for this year. That was made up and looked at prior to COVID, and they're anticipating that to drop, although we don't have the exact numbers, but that is the funds that come into the city of Rio Dell that is used to repair our roads. And we appreciate that coming from the county and helping out our city. Okay, end of the reporting. So last meeting, we talked about a phone conversation with Danco Project. Mr. Knott forwarded me a email that was unproductive. We were both online. There was no meeting on a Thursday. So I did go down and just knock on the door of the cottages and met Destiny down there, who is the new manager. Had a discussion with her. I'm still very concerned regarding that project. There have been no community meetings of any sort because of COVID. So these tenants haven't had any like AA or NA meetings. They've had none of the meetings that I went to that we had at the fire hall, where they would have helpers come in to help them with light cooking or cleaning. They've had nothing, no assistance. And of course, the reasoning is COVID, but that is now opening up. And I'm hoping that DHHS is going to step up here and help these tenants that have been placed here. It's very concerning to me that they've just kind of been moved in and then left to care for themselves. And, you know, when the whole point was we were supposed to be helping them in collaboration with DHHS, with the city, and with Danco. This was supposed to be a collaborative effort, and I don't see that happening. So I'm very concerned about that. I'm still thinking a letter should be sent, definitely to DHHS and to Danco, copies to Danco regarding that we need to see this happening. We need to see this moving forward. These tenants need assistance, and we want to see to it that they're getting what they need. Also, there was a article put out, Lost Coast Outpost, I believe it was on Friday, the 16th. It's about Arcata, Measures B, and then for the county, Measure I, that's put on the ballots is regarding low-income housing. It's an article that's very interesting that I'm hoping every city council member in Rio Dell reads. It's about Article 34 of the Constitution and how permission from the voters is supposed to be sought before any building of affordable housing is put in. It's supposed to be voted on. That certainly is not what happened at the Danco. I know that we sought legal counsel by Russ. I'm not sure what happened there, and maybe he can address this. But I think we really need to be careful what we're doing and definitely look into any future projects or things that may be on hanging out there. Also, I was at the school today and spoke with Angela, the principal.
Superintendent.
Yes, superintendent, thank you. And she was talking about Halloween, and I believe Chief Connors, she spoke with you today. And I thought maybe you're going to bring that up, but the kids are going to be, you know, wearing their Halloween costumes, and they were going to do a little parade, and they're going to be coming by City Hall. And I thought it might be a great idea if we could get a table out there and candy or something for the kids. If we wear rubber gloves or do something that's going to keep everybody safe, it might be a great outreach for our city.
Well, to speak to that, Councilmember Strawn, there's a, I guess you call them a hack, I don't know, a hack online, the Pinterest thing, and they made a tube, and the tube went down, a kid did this, made a tube that went down the railing of their house. And they made the tube all the way down the railing, and then they slid the candy bars down the tube from the top of the porch down to the bottom, so that the recipient could get the candy, and you're still having social distancing as it should be. So if we do something like that, that is an idea that I think would work well. So now where are we, Councilmember Wilson?
Yeah, we're doing staff council reports.
Correct.
I had an HWMA meeting, and we went over some of the same stuff that I keep bringing up, is particularly on CRV. That's pretty much a done issue in Humboldt County for a while. The HWMA is trying to figure out a way to make that work, but they've decertified. So if you're collecting cans and bottles, you're going to have them in your possession for a long time until you can find a way to Crescent City. But what Jill told us Thursday was that they pay $1.65 per pound for cans, and they sell those for 40 cents a pound. And that's the only money they get. They don't get any money from the state. They get what they get from selling the cans. The other thing, they pay $1. They would have paid $1.28 a pound for bottles, and they would have sold them for 8 cents a pound. It's like 16 to 1. So I don't see how anybody can make money doing that. So, but what we're looking to do is to address at the next meeting what it would cost the HWMA to add to tipping fees or to your cost to get rid of your solid waste, in order to set up some kind of a location to take the CRV and continue to lose. They lose $750,000, which you are as a garbage. If you have garbage collection, you're subsidizing that in the cost of your solid waste garbage to pay for the cleaning up of the recycled goods, which was they again tell us in the 80s when this was put in place. The reason that they passed the CRV thing was to get people to not litter on the highways. And so now that's getting turned around, and people aren't out picking up the cans like they used to. And we're going to start seeing more litter. So I guess stay tuned, but just to let you know that if you're holding out for when you can go turn these in, you're going to hold out a long time. You can't just throw them in your recycle bin and you don't get anything for them, but they get recycled, and you can feel a lot better about yourself. I guess that's the idea. They don't end up in the somewhere else.
In the ocean, right?
Well, I still have an issue with making a lot to outlaw straws, but apparently right now that's not a big issue with everything else.
Thank you. Was that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I thought I had something else, but I think I'm good. I have HWM or RCEA Thursday. We're gonna talk about power and all of that. So.
Okay then. So I'll just go back just one more time to see to the city manager. Was there anything, any hands or did anyone come in while we were having this conversation?
No hands have been raised.
Mayor Garnes?
Yes.
Mayor Garnes, as a point of order, we do need to have a motion on the unmet transit needs.
Oh,
item.
thank you. Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much. We need
Sure,
to
thank you.
have a motion to, oh, what is that motion? What is that action? To direct staff to send a letter to County Association of Governments relaying the comments made during the public hearing regarding unmet transit needs. Is there a motion to have that letter sent?
So moved by Johnson.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second by Councilmember Wilson. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Councilmember Strand,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Gardner.
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, City Clerk, for pointing that out to me. All right. Well, I think that then brings us to the end of our regular meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved by Johnson.
We have a motion. Sure.
Second.
Do we have a second? So moved. See you in 2 weeks on November 3rd. Meeting adjourned.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
I have a question for Kyle.